everybody? It is Saturday, January 28th, 2023. And you know what that means. It is the Royal Rumble pay-per-view tonight. I am so pumped for it. We've been talking about it for weeks and weeks. The first Royal Rumble under Triple H. A lot of hype going around for it. I'm super excited for the show tonight. And of course, we've also got last night's SmackDown, which was great to talk about as well. But first, let me introduce you guys by who I'm joined with today. Firstly, Clark Taylor. How are you, Clark?
I'm doing so well. The Royal Rumble is my favorite non-Mania WWE pay-per-view. It always has been. I'm going to get my first Pat Patterson reference out of the way. It's his genius. Monster shout out to Pat Patterson, because this concept is one of the coolest in the history of wrestling, and I'm always stoked to talk Rumble. It's one of the best things there is, and almost no matter what, there's nothing that can go wrong when it comes to entertainment value because of the length of the match and the whole concept. I love the pay-per-view. It's my absolute favorite outside of Mania, and I'm stoked to get into it.
Oh, 100%. And today, once again, we're joined by Coby Galenzoski. How are you, Coby?
I'm good enough. I'm great. Today's Royal Rumble Saturday. I think is it the first Rumble on a Saturday? Or was last year Sunday?
I honestly can't remember.
I can't remember either.
Bad.
I can't remember either.
We should know that, but it's okay.
I can't remember either. But it is Royal Rumble Saturday, yeah.
No, it's gonna be so good. As you can tell, we're all pumped for it. We've been pumped, we've been talking about this for weeks now. You guys know how excited we are. But first things first, before we get into the Royal Rumble and our picks and predictions for the show, we are going to talk last night's episode of SmackDown. And for those of you guys who didn't watch the show, Sami Zayn the Bloodline kicked off the show by coming in their car as per usual, and Solo and Jimmy went ahead, and Jay was the final one. And out comes Sami Zayn, who's wearing a HUD, and he says, I just wanted to stop you, Jay, and I'm not going to go in because obviously Roman told me not to, but I wanted to say thank you, and if you ever need anything, just let me know. And Jay's like, you shouldn't be here, blah, 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 but thank you, but you go now. And yeah, anyway, he runs away, puts his HUD up in all black. It was quite a funny segment and a good way to start the show. But then we got into Rey Mysterio versus Karrion Kross, which was... We said yesterday that Karrion Kross needed to, be able to have a decent match with Rey. And yeah, he played the role perfectly. It was an enjoyable short match. Kross dominated, but Rey won in the end with a roll-up. Very shocking victory. I would not have called that whatsoever, but it was fun. It did what it needed to do, and it was a good start to the show. But what did you think about it, Clark?
The only thing that bugged me about it is it was shades of the shock loss that he took in the bad gear, as I would call it, way back when, before he was cut. In that era, that was the only thing that kind of scared me about it, was, are we really doing this again with Kross? Now, did he look strong? Yes. The physicality was there, and then the roll-up finish I thought was cool because of the surprise alone. I just don't know what it means for the future. That's the only thing I'm worried about. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, no, I mean, it does depend about what the future is for Karrion Kross. Are they now sending him back to the mid card? I'm going to be honest. I think this is going to lead to another match which Kross will win, and I think it's just advancing the story, which I'm not against whatsoever. It was a fun start to SmackDown. But what do you think, Coby?
I thought it was good enough. Like, I was watching with my dad, and we both said the same thing. Kross is going to win. So it was a shocking victory. It was it was funny because it was like, oh, they actually did it. At the end of the day, I mean, it did what it was supposed to do. I don't think it was a phenomenal match. It wasn't. It did what it was supposed to do. It got Kross over as a heel in a way, and Rey got the big pop of being the face that was able to defeat him. But like, that's the thing. That's the one part of, like, if I was in the booking perspective or in the booking seat and I had the book, I'd be saying what's next, and nobody really knows what's next for Karrion Kross. We know what's next for Rey because he's probably going to go back to doing something with Dom, but I have no clue with Kross if they're already giving up on him or like what.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it was Anthony yesterday who mentioned that he thought that Dominic was going to come out and screw Rey, and I didn't even think about that possibility. But now I actually think that when they do the rematch between Kross and Rey, that's what's gonna Dominic is gonna be the one who's gonna screw Ray, and maybe it'll be in a steel cage or something like that, and they do some screwy finish. But that'll be closer to Mania as well, which means it won't be as hard to drag it out. So I think Anthony's prediction yesterday is what's going to happen, but I think it's just going to happen in the next match instead. But then moving on to the next segment, and this was a bit of a surprise. Austin Theory came out. I was like, what? Austin Theory, WWE Raw star on SmackDown. Obviously it's Royal Rumble weekend. That's why he came out and he started cutting a promo about, why he's the best, all that, usual Austin Theory stuff. Before the New Day came out with the NXT Tag Team Championships and said they were going to win the Royal Rumble because when one of them wins the Royal Rumble, they all win the Royal Rumble, including the New Day cut one of their typical promos, very fun, all that stuff. And then out came The Miz. The Miz then, did one of his typical promos. Before out comes Bobby Lashley, who was not here to talk. He was here to just take everyone out and, get revenge on Austin Theory after losing to him the other day. But then out came Brock Lesnar from the crowd. And this was just a huge shock. Obviously, we saw him on Monday Night Raw this week, but we didn't expect to see him on SmackDown as well, unadvertised. It was brilliant. It was a real great start to Royal Rumble weekend for me personally. A segment which I didn't expect to happen. And yeah, it's just great seeing Brock Lesnar as a surprise. It truly, truly is in a segment like this. It was very fun. But what did you think about it, Clark?
So I love Brock and Lashley in that rivalry, and I cannot wait to see this match because I want it to just look like a fight. I thought the first one was actually a little overlooked. It was a sprint. To have two guys that size carry that pace the way that they did, and then even to do the classic Bret Hart finish. I understand it wasn't turned over, but it was a good match, and I want to see another absolute slugfest between the two of them. One of my biggest takeaways, though, from that segment that I found interesting is I kind of want to see Miz and Theory almost work together, not necessarily team up, but I think they'd be good for each other. Not that Theory doesn't understand heel work and whatnot, but Miz is just so good in that regard. I thought seeing them together in this segment, I kind of thought about it, and I'm like, maybe for a short tag run or something down the road or something like that. Because they're both pretty easy to dislike in a good way, right? As far as heel work. And that was kind of something I noticed during the segment that was like, Miz and Theory might make a little bit of sense.
No, absolutely. That is a very good point. The only possible tiny issue that I'd have with it is whether or not Austin Theory would then, really seem like just another Miz and they struggle to get out of his shadow, perhaps. But then again, perhaps putting them together and the feud to follow afterwards would take them out of the shadow. So it could be super interesting to see for sure. And their chemistry, I think, would be very, very good. But what did you think about this segment, Kobe?
I'm going to laugh all the time because every year during this time, they do that whole, people are going to show up. And it's like, you have Michael Cole saying, it's Royal Rumble season. Anything can happen. It was fun. It did what it was supposed to do. We got the New Day on to promote the match. The New Day is always going to be over and enjoyable. Theory's definitely doing better stuff now than selfie and saying the stupid shit. At the end of the day, it was good enough. Like, it wasn't phenomenal. I like Brock Lesnar coming out after Lashley took everyone out, and then it was just like, I found it interesting that he said, I'll see you see you tomorrow, or see you at the Rumble, or something along those lines, which is interesting because that blows another pretty much surprise that could have been in the Rumble.
Yeah, so perhaps hints that at the fact that, more surprises are coming in the Rumble or something like that, which gets us more hyped up, but hopefully not overhyped. But still, it's going to be great to see Lesnar in the Rumble, another big name. And I'm hyped. I know, obviously, we're getting surprises later on, but I'm hyped for this Rumble tonight. But next up was, I'm not a fan of her in real life, but we're just focused on the gimmick for now. Lacey Evans returned to television, and she squashed. I can't remember the jobber's name, what they introduced her as.
Jasmine Allure.
Jasmine Allure, and yeah, it was a very simple squash. Lacey looked fine in it. Not really much to say. Do you have anything to add, Kobe?
I mean, I wouldn't say I have anything to add, but I mean, like, it did what it was supposed to do. She came out, she did the heel work. I don't know if you want to say the noises were piped in, you can, but I thought she was getting good enough reactions as the heel, but I find it, I don't want to say redundant or stupid, but I don't like that despite the character changes, they're keeping her punch the woman's right. Like, it should kind of change based on her now army, like, drill sergeant type gimmick. And I mean, the Cobra Clutch is fine. It looks good. Someone in a modern day using it's cool to see. But I didn't have any problems with it. But
Yeah. What about you, Clark? What did you think about this segment?
I thought Jasmine Allure looked great. I hope she gets picked up by another wrestling company. That's about all I got to say about that match.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Then the next segment we had on the show was quite interesting because we yesterday predicted that we all unanimously predicted that Sheamus and Drew versus Imperium would be the tag team final. Sheamus and Drew were taken out by the Viking Raiders before their match against Hit Row. So there goes Gunther versus Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre theory. Well, maybe they'll return to that. Who knows? Perhaps they just want to wait until close to Mania to do that. But yeah, seemingly Viking Raiders and Drew versus the Banger Bros. I know they're not called that anymore, but we'll carry on with that. Is the direction heading forward. But then we had Braun Strowman and Ricochet entered the tag team tournament, which we were all surprised they weren't there in the first place. But they entered it, replacing Sheamus and Drew, and faced Hit Row and won. And this was a decent enough match. Better than Hit Row's match last week, certainly, but wasn't anything too special. But what did you think, Clark?
You know, I think the Strowman and Ricochet pairing is unique and it's fun. And after like the flippy comments months ago, the turnaround for now he's paired with Ricochet and the chemistry is so good. And like you said, we're all shocked that they weren't in the tournament out of the gates. And yeah, I was glad to see them as the replacements. Glad to see him pick up the win. I don't really understand setting up the rivalry between the Viking Raiders and Drew and Sheamus not in the title picture. I'd almost prefer if they could have done that somehow with Butch and Ridge, maybe. Yeah. I think that would make more sense, but I didn't have an issue with the way the segment played out. It was entertaining. The only thing I guess I would be concerned about is the direction from here. But yeah. But other than that, I was really happy to see Ricochet and Braun, and I think honestly they've kind of revitalized each other, and they both look really good as a tag team. I'm pleasantly surprised by that pairing for sure.
No, absolutely. And I said about a week ago, I thought it would be great choice to put them back together for sure. But the next segment we had was LA Knight came out as Bray Wyatt, and this was great. I mean, he tricked everybody. I say tricked everybody. I'm pretty sure it's quite obvious straight away that it was LA Knight before he even showed him. Because the camera angles are slightly different. But yeah, it was brilliant. He came off as a knockoff Bray Wyatt with a tiny lantern before Bray Wyatt appeared seemingly out of nowhere on his rocking chair and cut a great promo on LA Knight before then Howdy could be seen up in the stands. And we'll get on to Bray Wyatt and LA Knight a little bit later on in the show when we talk about the Rumble. But we'll move on next to the Legado Del Fantasma versus Imperium tag team match. And this was a fun match, and as we expected, Imperium won. I mean, I kind of hoped it would have had a little bit more time, to be honest, and would have been a little bit better. But it was still a fun match between the two. But it's a bit like where did Legado go from here? But what did you think about the match, Kobe?
I mean, it was just two teams that, I mean, even then they didn't have their top stars. Gunther was probably still in San Antonio for the Rumble, and so was Santos Escobar. And it was like really, I don't want to say it was the B tier players of each faction, but it was the people that are going to be overlooked because Legado has Santos as the top star and Imperium has Gunther at the top. You're not going to really get to see Imperium or Legado have the opportunity to deliver in this sort of way. And I thought they did phenomenal. Legado were fitting in the position of the makeshift faces, because they were booing Imperium. I think It's going to be reminiscent of. I hope we get to the point to how over Legado was but from their face run in NXT with the crowd chanting Legado with the beat of the music. I absolutely love that. I do think it's interesting because by the looks of it, Giovanni Vinci might have tweaked his knee on the landing because he did the gorilla press off the top rope, which looked phenomenal, but he landed right on his knee, and then it almost took him a second to kind of get up back on his feet. And it really seemed like he pushed through something that could have been like a sprain or something. So I don't know if that cut off time or that was going to be the finish anyway, or it took them an extra 10 seconds to kind of do the finish or not. But I do think something happened to the point where it was like, but the match was fun regardless. I enjoyed it. I think it was solid for being a showcase of the afterthoughts, I'll say in quotation marks. But yeah, it was good. Good match.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He did what he was meant to do, and now Imperium versus Braun Strowman and Ricochet is the final, and that should be a fun one for sure. And I mean, it's gonna be interesting. I don't actually know who's gonna win between the two. I really don't. I think Imperium's probably just about the safe bet, but you know, you never know. But then moving on to the main event.
I mean, Allison, who's the faces and who's the heels in the match? And what are the Usos?
Well, the Usos can do either. That's the thing.
The Usos can do either.
Yeah.
But do you really think Imperium's going to get that title shot? I'd ask you that because there's no way. I'll put the prediction here just as last 2 seconds. Braun and Ricochet are getting the title shot.
Oh, really?
The Usos will pin Ricochet, but that's what's going to happen. They're over as a face tag team.
True. I could see either for sure, but it's just obviously they just faced the Judgment Day, who are heels as well. Like the Usos, that's the good thing about Usos as champions. They can face either right now because they are kind of tweeners, despite the fact they are heels. They're just also really over because they're the bloodline. But talking about the bloodline, Usos got into a bit of confrontation with Sami Zayn backstage during the show, and Adam Pearce sent them home for the night. Jay got his phone out and said, Sammy. Well, he didn't say Sammy. He said, are you, he didn't say who it was, but he said, are you, still in town? And yeah, it was pretty obvious. It was Sami Zayn. And then we had the main event, Kevin Owens versus Solo Sikoa. Really, decent fun match. And then, of course, as Owens was about to get the victory, Zayn came and saved Solo Sikoa and dragged him out of the ring. Solo then went to super kick Owens, missed, connected with Zayn, took out Zayn. Owens then ended up taking out Sikoa. And right before heading off, Owens didn't touch Sami Zayn, but he just said to him, they're going to blame you for this. And then walked away. And the show ended once again with Sami Zayn, just like last week, looking really disappointed and all that. But yeah, I mean, it was a fun match. But what did you think about it, Clark?
I loved it. I had a good feeling about you don't repeat. I don't want to see you on Friday if we're not going to see him on Friday. And we dang sure saw him multiple times on Friday, and I loved it. I loved every second of it because they advanced the story without making anything definite. And we can talk about whether he'll be blamed or not. Like Kevin said, that was so subtle and so great. Like you pointed out, I loved that part of the whole thing. I also love him and Jay now. It's almost like he's had an individual friendship with each member of the bloodline, and it's rotating as you go. There was a few weeks where he and Solo seemed to be getting along. Him and Jimmy, you remember when Jay was at odds with him, and now it's he and Jay have this bond. Even if you include Roman's apology to him, you can include his 1 week. The only one that's been pretty consistently skeptical is Heyman, other than to Sammy's face. I think it'll be interesting to see maybe if Heyman goes to bat for Sammy tomorrow or something like that. Might be interesting. Not tomorrow, today. I guess that would be this afternoon or evening for me. Yeah, if that's the case, that'd be a cool kind of thing. Then each member has done that. Either way, it's the best story going right now, and I love it.
Absolutely. And you were saying afternoon and then evening for other people in the US. For me, it's 1 a.m.
Middle of the night.
To 5 tonight. So I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm so hyped. I'm hoping I can get through it. But when we're getting through things, let's quickly get through these comments. We got Soul in the comments here. He's not happy. He's not on today's show. Of course, it's the pre-Rumble show. Everybody wants to be on it. But perhaps we'll get Soul's thoughts on it. Post-Rumble tomorrow should be a good show for certain tomorrow night. And then take it to the table. Chaos is saying, currently watching the 2002 Rumble.
It's a good Rumble. Great Rumble.
Yeah. Absolutely. But yeah, now moving on to what we're all here for, the Royal Rumble. And we're gonna do this in a unique way, let's just say. We're going to cover the title matches along with the winner of the Royal Rumble and then link it to WrestleMania, right? So I'm going to go first. I think tonight Roman Reigns will defeat Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn will help Reigns get the victory. But after the match, I think Reigns is just going to take out Sami Zayn. For what happened last night on SmackDown, I think he's going to get the blame for it, and I think he's going to very simply take out Sami Zayn before then later in the night, Zayn comes in at number 30, and I think Sami Zayn will win the Royal Rumble, and the main event of WrestleMania will be Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn. That is my prediction. And also what I'm hoping for, in all honesty. But what about you, Clark? What is your prediction?
My prediction for the 2023 Royal Rumble is that first.
Sorry, Clark. I think we had a bit of.
No, you're good. We're good. You're good.
Can you start that bit again?
My prediction for the 2023 Royal Rumble, and it's real simple here, is very similar to Ben's, but not the same. I think Roman Reigns retains against Kevin Owens without the help of Sami, but with the help of another member of the bloodline, maybe a Solo Sikoa. Solo's injury, I think the night opens with Roman Reigns telling Sami Zayn he can't enter the Royal Rumble because of what he did the night before. And I think somebody steps in to help Reigns, but gets hurt along the way against Owens, despite Reigns retaining, and they need to be replaced in the Rumble. That replacement will be Sami Zayn. I do not believe at number 30. I do not think we will have back-to-back years of number 30 winning the Rumble. On the men's side, I just don't see that, but I do like your call, Ben, because I think Sami Zayn wins the Rumble from number 27. And that's my call right there.
That is a good one indeed. Perhaps number 27. If you get that right, flipping act, that'll be great. But what about you, Kobe? What is your prediction?
I think there's, as much as we can say this, I don't think Cody Rhodes is going to win. If I had a decision, I would say Sami Zayn should be the front runner of the Royal Rumble. I believe Kevin Owens does take the L against Roman Reigns in the match. Roman Reigns retains. Sami Zayn gets the match. I don't know whether or not they do the match at the Elimination Chamber or if that actually is the WrestleMania main event. I don't know if there's a bigger match that you can do outside of it, though. So there's a lot of complications. I do believe that come into play, but that is what it is.
Yeah, no, that is another great pick as well. Now, the next question that I wanted to ask you guys is, outside of course, the winner situation, what do you guys think, who do you guys will reckon will show up in the Men's Royal Rumble as surprises? Me personally, I think we're going to see Austin. I think it's practically a certainty that Austin will be in this Rumble, even if he doesn't lead to anything at Mania. I think he's just going to be at the Rumble regardless. I also think there is a possibility we see Zack Ryder in the Rumble, probably just as a one-off, but I think that's possible. But as for other surprises, I'm not really sure. But what would you say, Clark?
So some of these are hopes, and I could be maybe already proven wrong. Hope Randy Orton, probably not, would imagine, but would love to see a Randy return. And then to piggyback off that, why don't we go rated RKO all the way? Where's Edge been? I think an Edge return in the Rumble tonight makes a heck of a lot of sense. We'll probably see him back. Would love to see Big E. I know with his health, not likely. So, and still heal up. Wish the best for him. Outside of that, I agree with your Zack Ryder call. I would love to see Braun Breaker. I would really actually love to see Braun Breaker as even though it's not a massive surprise, I just would like to see what he could do in the Rumble. Maybe just face to face with some of the bigger stars on the main roster inside the context of the Rumble. It'd be cool to see how they just even stack up physically in the ring. Would be fun for me. But outside of that, I'm not 100% sure. Austin would be amazing. Any legend. It would be fun, but I don't know necessarily who's even available. Batista hasn't been mentioned, but that'd be interesting. But I don't think that's in the cards. I think one of those two rated RKO guys would be my two biggest surprises I could think of off the top of my head that are really, really possible.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, there's a good few names as well, which we still have to go. It's over 10, I think, just about. That will be surprises in the Rumble, so it'll be interesting to see. And I think Braun Breaker could well be likely, because I think they'll definitely have to throw in a couple of NXT guys to fill those numbers. You can't have big surprises as every surprise, and it's nice to give them a shot, isn't it? Like I said about it the other day. But what about you, Kobe? What are your predictions for the surprise entrance?
You posted this on the Instagram. I was the one that originally sold, I guess, you guys on Austin because of him training. And that's funny that you both stepped out of the frame at the same time.
No audio.
Because I don't know. I mean, speculation almost, I don't want to say ruins it, but it takes away from this could be a surprise. I do think there's a good chance we see Matt Cardona in the flesh. If he's announced as Zack Ryder, who knows? I still think there's a big chance Great Muta shows up. Whether it's Keiji Muto or it's the Great Muta, I think that has to happen because we know Triple H's love for the legends, and he had Liger wrestle for NXT. I think he'd want to have Muta wrestle, or at least appear in some form, so then they could probably induct him in a year or two and say, "Oh, well, he did wrestle for us." I think the one thing that was telling is a lot, like there was nobody from the Bloodlines in the Royal Rumble at this point. As nobody's from the Bloodlines been announced, you can probably assume, I'd say Sikoa and maybe Sami Zayn. But, I mean, a lot of the tag team people aren't going to be in the Rumble. So you're not going to see Butch or Holland. You're not going to see the Usos. I'd laugh to see Chad Gable and Otis because Alpha Academy's phenomenal. But I don't, you're not going to see Gallows and Anderson. You might see Damian Priest and Dom. I don't know at the end of I think they are officially announced. But you're not going to see most of the tag team wrestlers in the Royal Rumble, which I think is a good move because you're kind of removing the whole. Well, we're going to put a tag wrestler in. Well, you just putting them to fill in a number. NXT talent, I don't think there's going to be many. If anything, I think you could either see Braun Breaker or Carmelo Hayes. I think those are the two probable ones from NXT, but I don't think I wouldn't say they're for sure.
Yeah. No, I do agree with you there. And also the tag team point you made is a fantastic point. Of course, in previous years, we often have seen, tag team wrestlers fill up the spots. But when it's a roster this deep and there's the surprises you could do, it's not like every time you count down and it's just, a random tag team wrestler. It's not always, it's not always a great pop like, you'd like in the Royal Rumble match. But we got Soul here in the comments saying that he wants to see Matt Cardona, Joe Hendry, and Josh Alexander. Nobody in that. Okay, that's a lie. Some people don't really will know. Out of the 50,000, 40,000 of them will not know who Joe Hendry is. So I cannot see that one happening. Josh Alexander, I mean, I feel like nearly half will probably know who he is, but I still don't know why it'd be beneficial for WWE. But as for Matt Cardona, I could definitely see the possibility in that happening. Numero 1 Superfly said he believes that the surprise entrance will be Booker T. Zack Ryder, Logan Paul. If Logan Paul's back from injury,
Logan's a potential. Still.
That's a good one, yeah. Naomi, ooh, that'd be cool. And we'll get into the female ones in a few minutes' time. Chelsea Green and Evil Oscar. Oh, that is a very, very, very interesting shout. But yeah, I mean, there's space. There's about 10 surprises tonight. Of course, a couple of those.
Yeah, according to Wikipedia, 19 men have been announced. 12 women have been announced. So the women, ooh. That's where it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Oh, that'll certainly be an interesting one. So we've got 11 currently. Possible surprises in the men's rumble. Who could they be? We'll have to wait until later tonight. And of course, I'm going to say this now. Don't expect 11, big surprises or whatever. Some tons of Forbidden Door stuff. It's not going to happen, guys. Don't get your hopes up. But hopefully there'll be a couple of fun surprises.
Well, see, that's the thing. Even then, as a surprise, it doesn't have to be a big surprise.
Exactly.
Like an NXT star is not a big surprise. We're not going to get 10 Austins. Yeah. We're not going to get DDP Austin. Like we're going to get we'll get one or two massive, and then you'll get supplementary surprises, if you want to call it that. But you're not going to get 10 Austin level pops in the Rumble.
And Souls just said, what about Wade Barrett? Now, that is one where he continuously denies his stuff. But
he denies, but he's also been training too.
Yeah.
He's been working out. So
that's a very good shout, Soul, actually. I should have said that myself. Could well be the case happening, and I'd love to see him make
Booker T in Texas as well, by the way, while we're on commentators. Just to piggyback off that, right? Booker T.
Yeah.
He's from Houston. They're in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Booker T. I'm
going to have to give Numo One Superfly the credit for that one, though, as he did. In that comment.
He did say, yes. No, I know, but that's what I was just adding to that. I'm like, both commentary guys, there are possibilities for sure.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And let's not overhype it too much. So
remember, Corey Graves was quote unquote cleared.
Ooh,
that's so. But maybe we have all three commentators in at once.
While we're up, let's get Cole in there in the headgear.
But he doesn't have Jack Swagger to teach him the ankle lock anymore.
Yes.
Triple H has to get on commentary again because everyone else is in the
only one that can be on the headset.
Get DX commentary. Get DX commentary.
That'd be brilliant.
Okay, guys, in all seriousness, though, and not to interrupt everybody, but this is the one name that I should have mentioned, and I've actually got two now, and I feel guilty about it. What about Bad Bunny and Pat McAfee? What are we doing, guys? We're better than this. Bad Bunny and McAfee are in this freaking Rumble, aren't they?
I don't think we see Bad Bunny again.
Maybe McAfee.
I don't think. I'd say if you're telling me pick one of those two names,
okay, there's
a bigger chance McAfee's in it. I'd say there's a bigger chance McAfee's in it.
You got to give me the chance to tell you to pick one, though. What if it's both?
Could be. It
could
well be. I don't know
what I care about.
State does currently.
Okay.
But Pat McAfee is almost 100% if we're being realistic about it. That is one which we missed. So great shout there, Clark.
I was going to say, did he do College Game Day today?
There is no College Game Day today. The national championship was 2 weeks ago.
There you go.
The season's been over since Georgia beat the crap out of TCU.
There you go.
He's available.
There you go.
Yeah, 65-7, I believe it was. That's a wide margin.
I'll pretend I know what that means.
It was a blowout.
65 points to 7 points.
Yeah, it's like an 8.
Oh, I know that.
That'd be like an 8-1 soccer game, Ben.
Fuck! Flipping out.
Yeah, that's what that is.
We got an F-bomb.
Yeah.
We got the F-bomb.
God, I was on air for a second, but no. Caught myself. But yeah. No, wow! I didn't realize it was even that big of a margin. But anyway, let's get back to wrestling. And I'm going to ask you guys the exact same question I asked you for the men's now. Bianca Belair versus Alexa Bliss. What is your prediction for that? Along with what is your prediction for the women's Royal Rumble winner? My predictions for the women's Royal Rumble. My predictions for Bianca Belair versus Alexa Bliss is that Bianca Belair is going to win tonight. And then I believe that Rhea Ripley is going to win the Rumble. And it will be Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. What about you, Clark?
So I messed up my prediction yesterday and called Alexa Bliss winning the Rumble. Now, is there a scenario where I think somehow she could do both? Maybe. I think it's probably too early for that. I'm going to go with a wild card, and I'm going to give numero one Superfly mad credit for this. Evil Asuka is going to win the Rumble. Evil Asuka wins the Women's Rumble, and I think it's her and Bianca because that is their match they had, I want to say, late November on Raw as a main event with them both as baby faces was outstanding. That match was underrated. They gave him a full 15 minutes for it, and I really, really do like that idea. I think Evil Asuka as a surprise winning in some form. I don't know if they give her name from Japan. That'd be really cool if they could. But I think the look's different. I think there's a reason we haven't seen her. And it would be kind of cool to give her the nod, as I believe that would be 2 or 3-time two-time Rumble winner there, right? That would be 2-time, yeah. And I think to give her that nod, resume boost is totally worth it.
Yeah, credits to Coby on that one for checking that quickly. But Coby, what is your predictions for Bianca Belair versus Alexa Bliss and the Women's Royal Rumble winner?
I'll say this: if I had the buck, Bliss was winning. What's going to happen in actuality? Bianca's winning.
Okay.
For the Royal Rumble, I do think the best position or the best person to win is Rhea Ripley, but I'm not interested in Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley. I'm interested in Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. I think that is, even then, to back off of Clark's comment about it, Asuka, I'd be more interested in Asuka versus Charlotte in a rematch, too. I don't like, as of right now. I mean, this is me. I'm not on the post-Raw show. I'm not as interested in Bianca Belair at this point. I'm more interested in knowing where Charlotte's going to go with the title. So I do think I do think it is going to be Rhea Charlotte at WrestleMania.
I'm going to be honest. I'd absolutely love to see that match as well, because of course they were meant to have that match at WrestleMania 36, which of course then ended up happening in the Performance Center. It wasn't even the Thunderdome at that point in time. But yeah, I mean, I actually don't know what I currently see Charlotte doing at Mania. I mean, perhaps a rematch of Ronda is my personal prediction, because I think that Ronda, I know I don't want to see it either, Coby, but I think it's Ronda's got to be involved in some way. But then it's like, well, what's Becky going to do? What's Bayley going to do? There's a lot of elements here, which is why I believe that one match is likely going to be a multi-woman match. Yeah. But there's a lot of elements moving, and it's quite unpredictable. And Coby, you mentioned a couple of minutes ago, only 12 women have been announced for the Rumble as of this time, which means that there are 18 surprises, as per se. Some of them will just be roster.
18 unannounced. I'll read them off because it's a short list. Liv Morgan, Candice LeRae, Rhea Ripley, Raquel Rodriguez, Shayna Baszler, Zelina Vega, Emma, Bayley, Dakota Kai, Io Sky, Lacey Evans, and Xia Li. So the field ain't impressive right now. It's not, but it's
especially the name you said second to last. But I'm not going to get into another rant about Lacey Evans. But no, I mean, like you said, 18 people left to be announced. To come out. Obviously, not all of them are going to be surprises, but maybe 10 of them could be somewhat surprises. And there's a few names who, perhaps could show up, such as it was referenced earlier by numero one Superfly. Let me get back to that comment. Naomi, that would be huge if Naomi came back. Imagine Naomi comes back and wins it.
That pop would be massive.
No,
I don't think she's going.
I'd be fine with her in the Rumble. I would not be interested in her winning.
For the shock factor alone, I might be. Just could be something interesting. But yeah, I think it's possible we see her, but I don't think she'll win it. But another name who might be in it, who number one Superfly referenced, is Chelsea Green. Especially if Zack Ryder shows up, I think it'll be a certainty.
Well, she has pen to the paper. She has put pen to paper already. She is physically contracted to the WWE. Whether or not she debuts in the Rumble,
I don't think that's official.
It is.
Where have WWE?
It very much. Well, not WWE. They wouldn't do it.
No.
They wouldn't
It's not.
announce it,
As of
but-
this time, it's not been official, right?
Yeah,
So
well-
that's the rumor. That's the rumor innuendo about it. We can see if she'll show up tonight, and we will have to wait.
Well, okay, no. Fightful did say it. Fightful did say it. Like Fightful has said it that Chelsea is signed. Whether you like it, whether you want to admit it or not, she is.
Maybe she is, right? But yeah. We'll have to wait and see, if it's right or if it's not right. But I hope it is right, because seeing Chelsea Green in WWE would be absolutely fantastic. No doubt about it. It would be a lovely pop to get tonight. But Clark, what other surprises do you personally see happening in the Women's Royal Rumble?
I would love to see Mickie James again, even though we've already seen the surprise. I think it's still kind of worth it. If they could bring over any Impact talent besides her, that would be really cool too, to have a second one maybe too, to kind of supplement the pop. I also think even if Chelsea Green is returning, if Zack Ryder is going to be in the Men's Rumble, it's a dead giveaway if she shows up on the women's side. I think a little bit, but at the same time, I'm not 100% sure on that. And it'd be great to see the hot mess back in WWE. At the end of the day, there isn't that big free agency pop name out there, but a Trish would be amazing to see return in a Legends capacity for a second. Maybe a Lita, maybe like any of those type of big names. Now I know Victoria's signed to Impact too. That would be a cool name to see return. Black Widow Victoria. It'd be very cool to see her be allowed to cross over with Mickie because of her history in the WWE, and I think she's a no-brainer Hall of Famer. I don't think Victoria gets enough credit for how great she truly was. And then I think the other one that I don't want to call it obvious, but would love to see Beth Phoenix in the Rumble again.
Oh yeah,
no question.
No, absolutely. But Beth Phoenix would certainly be a fun one to see. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see for the surprises tonight. The Women's Royal Rumble always tends to have a few more surprises than the men's. A few more legends come out in the last couple of years. But yes. Now, the next thing that I wanted to get into was something which we referenced earlier on in the broadcast, and that is Bray Wyatt and LA Knight. The Mountain Dew, completely pitch black. That's it. The Mountain Dew pitch black match. Nobody really knows what it is. I presumed it was a spotlight thing, but apparently there's UV lights or something involved. None of us really know what it is at this point. It could be something. I'm getting the feeling that it's going to be something the crowd probably won't dig, which is why I think it's going to go on second to last. But when the crowd are already a little bit tired. But it will be, certainly an interesting match to see. They built it up for months now, basically, this feud. When was it even? I can't even remember when it started. When was it Bray Wyatt even returned? No.
I think
the pay-per-view after SummerSlam. It's the pay-per-view after SummerSlam.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Isn't it?
The pay-per-view after SummerSlam was Clash at the Castle.
So the one after that.
Yeah, sorry, the one after
it was
that.
Extreme Rules. He returned
That's
in October.
It.
I think LA Knight was involved after the Crown Jewel appearance for Bray Wyatt. Fact check me if I'm wrong. I'm not going to do it myself, but that's to my knowledge what it would be.
Yeah.
It would be early November.
So a good basically a 3-month build.
That's 3 months.
And it's been a four and a bit month build for Bray Wyatt's return to the ring. And obviously he had that one live event appearance, but we are all very much interested in this match tonight. I mean, whether or not it'd be good is another question. Who knows?
He wrestled on multiple live events.
It's
Christmas
gonna.
week.
Oh, okay. It was good. He's getting the in-ring practice in for certain. But yeah, no. Hopefully it'd be good. But let's be real. We're all interested in it, but we're all maybe not expecting it to be amazing. But what do you think, Clark?
I'm not going to lie. I tried to track down some Mountain Dew Pitch Black myself. It's harder to find than you think. Like, it really is for a bottled soda. And, I really want to give it a shot. I don't know if that affects the outcome of the match, But without trying the soda, I don't have any idea of what's going to happen here. And so if it's just lighting and it's in whatever, that's going to be a little disappointing. I hope there's something more to it and there's something clever that we don't really know is coming, maybe stipulation wise, that is related to it. If it's just the way they're going to film it, I don't know. If it's cinematic, that might be cool in the arena, out of the arena. I'm just not sure. I would say 100% that I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. I got nervous on a sponsored match. That's no knock on Mountain Dew. I'm a Mountain Dew fan as a whole. It's not their fault. But I just got nervous on the return match being a sponsor match. Other than that, though, LA Knight's work's been so good, and I think it's elevated Bray, even in recent weeks. Not necessarily it's elevated Bray as much as it's just brought the best of Bray out. I love the Los Angeles Night joke he made the other night. Cracked me up. It was hilarious. And I think Bray has gotten more comfortable back on the microphone since he's returned. The biggest question that I have to be answered is how's it going to look on television? Pitch black scares me, right? If there's not enough light to see what's going on, then I'll be upset. If there is enough light, then I'm not really super worried about it because I am intrigued by both talents and I want to see where they're going from here.
Yeah, totally. I mean, actually, it's in a weird thing, this, where I've got 2 points on this. Well, firstly, it's in a weird thing where you're advertising it as a pitch black match. You don't want to be able to see everything, but then you want to also be able to see it. So they've actually kind of screwed themselves over a little bit.
Yeah, it's just it's dicey.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I'm going to be honest, I have a confession to make here. I've never had Mountain Dew.
No way.
And it exists here as well. I do believe it exists in the UK.
It's like kids' beer, man. There's so much caffeine and sugar. Every sleeper over when I was a kid growing up, you just start cranking Mountain Dews. Someone would order pizza. Stuff's good.
Oh
yeah.
What me and my friends used to do was we used to get this, I presume that's a bit of a knockoff Mountain Dew, this big, bottle of some caffeine, well, really caffeinated. I think it was called Emerge or something like that. It was in a grey bottle,
Yeah.
And we used to, listen to this, we used to do shots of it.
No.
So here we are, 14 years old, doing shots of a caffeinated drink, acting like we're so tough.
That
is
hysterical.
My gosh, it's burning. And it was just so funny. And we used to do it every sleepover so we could get through the night, I'm feeling tired now. Let's do a shot of Emerge. And
you guys have the caffeine bar.
Yeah.
That's
it was just absolutely ridiculous. But what do you think about this match, Kobe? Are you excited for it? Who do you reckon? I think we all predict Wyatt will win. But do you reckon it'll be good, or do you think it'll be a bit of a flop? What do you reckon?
Do I need to bury this any more than I already have? That's my question to you. In all seriousness, I don't know what to expect from the match. I've seen neon or I've seen UV light as potential thing. Like they released a shirt that reacts to UV light, and neon. I've seen neon elements. I don't know what to expect at this point. I don't think it's going to be any good. I don't like that his first televised match back is a sponsored match. I don't really like that. But at the end of the day, if I'll say this again, like I said with Bianca and Bliss, if I had the book, LA Knight be winning somehow.
Yeah.
Is he going to win? No, not at all. I want there to be a way where LA Knight looks good in this match and comes out of it looking good, but I don't know if there is. And that was a big criticism that, Dave Meltzer had a lot of crap for talking about the Fiend. But at the end of the day, it's true. Nobody went out of a rivalry with the Fiend and looked good. Bray Wyatt yes, LA Knight's been overshadowing and being the star of this rivalry, aside from some of the angles that Bray Wyatt has done. But at the end of the day, Bray Wyatt getting the win, to me, it is what it is. It doesn't truly sit right, but it is what it is. That's how it's gonna go down.
Yeah. And for those of you guys who haven't seen our show yesterday, make sure you check it out, because me and Kobe had a brilliant discussion about whether or not WWE should push LA Knight. And yeah, one thing we all agreed on is he is a fantastic talent. And even if he loses, I mean, in kayfabe, maybe he won't look any better. But I think LA Knight's gotten himself a lot of fans through this feud. I think I'll say that much because he really has been arguably the star of it, is what you guys said yesterday. And I do agree with you there. And it's gonna be, well, it should be a fun one. But like you said, the fact it's sponsored, the fact it's called Pitch Black, so it's got to be dark, but not too dark. And it's not something, I mean, maybe they will do a bit of a rehearsal for it, but they don't do rehearsals with this type of stuff. So we really don't know. And we've got Soul here in the comment section saying, better watch out, boss man. You're going to be working overtime, as I have been at work and got a lot of Soul sessions ready and waiting. And we are looking forward to seeing those Soul Sessions episodes coming soon to the Wrestling Republic YouTube channel. And also, Soul mentioned a little something from me earlier on. But,
that is the comment of the day.
That was.
That's hysterical. No,
and all of it was like how shocked I was.
It was.
I don't know why. But
it
70,
was.
What was it? 67-8, was it?
It was 65-7.
65 to 7.
No.
Because these scores, I don't know why.
I'm sorry, by the way. I think 63-7.
Oh, okay.
61-7. I can't remember. Either way, it's basically 8-1.
67, 60 something to 7.
Yeah, it was 60-7.
A final being 8-1.
Yeah.
What? That wouldn't happen in football.
No, it wouldn't.
I guess
it was complete and utter domination.
That's why football's overrated.
The Georgia Bulldogs, to their credit, by the way, guys, the Georgia Bulldogs were that much better than the rest of the country this whole year, and it made a heck of a lot of sense. If you watch the way that game played out, like there's always the funny debate about like could the best team in college beat the worst team in the NFL? This one, there might be an argument. That Georgia team is dang good. They are scary good for a group of college kids. They might have been able to beat the Texans this year.
I'll pretend to know what you guys are on about. But when it comes to Arsenal, we lost to Man City last night, so it was not a good night for me. But we get on and we move, and tonight is the Royal Rumble. We're all so hyped for it. And thank you, everybody, for joining us on this. And we'll be back tomorrow, of course. I think it's going to be our usual time of 8 p.m. GMT, 12 p.m. Eastern. And what's that in Hawaiian time?
12 p.m. Pacific, 3 Eastern, 9 a.m. Hawaiian. Hawaiian Elysian time, by the way. Yeah. If you want to look it up. Yeah.
Yeah, no. We got to give the Hawaiians a shout out there. But
for sure.
It's been excellent. It's been an excellent show today, guys. I hope the Royal Rumble is good today. Now, if you are watching this show, please leave us a like and a comment. It helps us out massively. We're really trying to boost our likes at the minute because our viewership's, we're increasing. Thank you to everybody who's watching us every day. It means so much to us. As we, of course, backstage here at Wrestling Republic, we're putting in a lot of work to this show, bringing it to you every single day, and we appreciate everybody who spends the time out of the day to join us and watch the daily broadcast. But yeah, thank you, everybody, and we will see you tomorrow for the post-Royal Rumble show. Will The Rock shot? Will Austin show up? Who knows? And Laurie Taylor here in the comments, he's looking forward to the post-Rumble show. Thank you. It's going to be a banger. But yeah, thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Banger.
And we will. Yeah, banger after banger.
Banger after banger.
Tomorrow.